concerning Jethro's, the father-in-law of Moses, position as an ardent idol worshipper, something that is implied in his title priest. The Torah compliments him in verse 11 when he declared that he had found the Lord was superior to any other kind of god or deity. The fact that a Gentile who occupied an exalted position in his own country and who was a religious dignitary to boot made a 180-degree turn becomes remarkable for the Jewish people only after the Torah tells us who this Gentile was prior to his conversion. So this would be like the Pope doing a 180-degree turn and going to pure monotheism. The emphasis here being Jethro and 180-degree turn, because we'll be dealing with turning the Hebrew alphabet 180 degrees, kind of. So I'm not the first person to point this out, but if you use the ATBASH cipher, which simply means every time there'd be an aleph, you replace it with a taf and the reverse, and every time there's a bait, you replace it with a shin and the reverse as well, which gives you ATBASH. So essentially flipping it 180 degrees. If you do this, the word Nefesh and the word Tov become each other, as I'll show you here. And I'll show you how the Nefesh Tov, so the Nefesh is a part of the soul, the animalistic part of the soul, you could say, and Tov means good. I'll show you how the Nefesh Tov, or the good soul, is actually connected to Jethro. But let's look at how Nefesh and Tov become each other, or are each other. It's very interesting here. So we have Nefesh, we're using ATBASH, and here's what comes up. Again, Tov will come up as a match. Now let's see what the Hebrew Bible and this verse looks like reversed, using the ATBASH cipher. Let's actually see what the text would look like if you did that. And do a search. Notice that everything around it changed, and it became Nefesh. What used to be Tov is now Nefesh. So Tov, using ATBASH, is Nefesh. Notice how all this is not Hebrew. This is like just reversed. But here you have it. Now you can, of course, do it the opposite way. Here I have Tov. If you do a search and check it out, it'll come out as Nefesh. This is in actual Hebrew. Now let's go up and have a look at the text in ATBASH. It actually will display it like that, and it becomes Tov. What used to be Nefesh becomes Tov. So you can see that Nefesh and Tov are related in the most spectacular way. So that made me think, let's look up Nefesh and Tov only together, when they're like matched up together, very close to each other. And you can see actually the first time this happens is in Genesis 1, with everything with the Nefesh of life. So this like spirit or soul of life, and God saw that it was good. But it actually goes on many, many times. You'll see that they're found exactly right next to each other, many times throughout the text. But then it brought me down eventually to this source on Jethro. So here we can see the Baal Shem Tov on Parashat Yitro, where we get the Torah, the section named after Jethro. And you can see here, Nefesh Tov. So it says here, this is the secret or the sod of from Parashat Lech Lecha. It says and it's quoting like, these are the souls that they made in Haran, speaking of Abraham and Sarah. And they're saying that these are like, I'm not going to translate this, but they're speaking of these converts. Converts came from, these are these like souls that they made while they were in Haran. And then it says something here about the Nefesh Tov, the good soul. And of course here it says the soul, the sod, or the secret of Gerim. Like I said, I'm not going to read this because it's not in context. You'd have to read the entire thing. But it's interesting that we see here Nefesh Tov in Parashat Yitro, the sod or secret of converts. And it's quoting this verse on the souls they made in Haran. And here we have it, the souls they made in Haran. Yitro was a convert. Converts come from the sanctified marital relations of the Sadiqim, of these righteous people. And then it quotes our verse, the souls they made in Haran. And it is brought in the Zohar. During that time that Abraham and Sarah were barren, their marital relations bore the souls of converts. Therefore, Jethro, who was a convert and so came from the sanctity of the marital relations of these righteous ones, knew the great value of their holiness, that by virtue of their great holiness their marital relations would produce the souls of converts, and all the more so the holiness of their abstinence.